and welcome. My name is Taylor Fischer, and this is my ARC501 final presentation. Today, I will be presenting my project Soto Square, which is a collective infill housing project and proposal. A little bit about the community history of where my proposal is located. The neighborhood is Boyle Heights. It is a sub-neighborhood of the greater Los Angeles area. And here we have some site history and some environmental context, along with my findings that Boyle Heights carries a very strong cultural identity rooted in Latina and Chicano heritage. Affordability is a pressing challenge, especially with the zoning incentives that are aimed to preserve access to the existing community to help kind of push back against the gentrification that they're seeing. The climate in this area is extremely dry, and Los Angeles, as most of us are probably aware, has faced some pretty severe wildfires over the last several years. And the grid layout of the system within the city makes it fairly walkable, and they do have large sidewalks. So, community access to buses, community transportation, and walking along with biking is a big priority. Some of the community takeaways, along with a rough site plan and a map of the surrounding area in a black and white context to really show just what the density of the area looks like. For this project, I focused on 5 different possible community members within this area, ranging from a single local college student to a multi-generational family with children and adults. Here we have the site plan that shows the first floor along with the main street and then the back alley that would be used to access the parking lot. I really wanted to focus on having everything be able to move through this area between the 2 streets, just to kind of keep that open flow going and really invite the community into this area. Here are some perspectives that we have of the buildings, showing some kids playing in these nice courtyards along with the paved paths to and from both the street and the parking lot. When I was doing these perspectives, I really wanted to emphasize that this is going to be a place where children and families are, along with including nice outdoor spaces that can be used for gathering. This community really appreciates space that can be used for gathering, events. It is a very tight-knit community. Here we have the 4 different options for floor plans. We have a 2-bedroom unit, a studio unit, 3-bedroom unit, and a 2-story duplex that has both upstairs and downstairs bedrooms, along with having an ADA unit. This ADA unit is a single bedroom, but it is right next to the 3-bedroom, so it could be used as generational living if need be. The shared and public spaces are in the larger of the 4 buildings, Building A, and we have 3 community rooms that we will focus on using for after-school projects, such as tutoring, classes, community outreach, and pop-up clinics, along with having laundry in the main area for these spaces, along with a large lobby, a mailroom, and the rental office. Buildings B, C, and D have in-unit laundry, but this is also an option. We can also see the semi-public and private areas along with the community spaces, the circulation, and the different types of units highlighted. We have our egress paths for first floor. All of the egress meets code, with the building A up at the top of the page having 2 exits Again, we have the second floor egress plans all meeting code, and the third floor also having access to the rooftop garden. Sections and details. So these buildings are going to be heavy frame timber to keep emissions low, use local products, and hopefully have a less significant excavation and footing, trying to really keep that cost down while keeping the products high in quality and low in emissions. These products can also be prefabricated and go together a lot quicker than average construction, which saves time and money and will help get people into these units sooner rather than later. And you can see that in the wall detail and in the roof detail, there is a continuous insulation to really keep that heat out in the summer and the heat in the winter, as it is a dry area, and so the temperature does tend to swing a little bit, especially getting fairly hot in the summertime. The stucco siding will help act as a thermal mass so that the insides of the buildings do not get too hot, along with also being part of the local vernacular of the aesthetic. Here we have some elevations showing that the central area, both on building A and building C, will be wood. Horizontal wood will help break up this mass so it looks smaller, kind of give it some similarity between the two sides of this project, and also feel warm compared to the stucco, which at times can feel kind of cold and concrete or a little bit hard. Another elevation along with a site section. I tried to keep these buildings to 3 stories just because the surrounding buildings are flat roofs and or tend to be fairly low profile. There aren't any high rises directly around this site. Specifically, it is single story or 2 story buildings, a lot of residential, mixed use, and small businesses. Passive design flow to really emphasize trying to keep the units comfortable with comfortable temperatures while also saving money by consuming less energy. System designs to again help reduce the costs of energy and keep these units affordable. The structural design showing heavy frame timber with a concrete core where these stairs will be. And then here the building matrix. I split it out by building and then by level. But as you can see, they are fully sprinkled, which will help in the case of a fire and to help preserve the units, along with they all meet required access for exits. And this is my exterior perspectives that just put a little bit more context into what everything is and to just really give you a feel for what this space is going to look like when you're walking by it. It is on a pretty main street, but I want it to feel comfortable and like home for these people. Thank you so much.